Hello, Eternal Gunslingers! We've finished another Eternal Tournament of Power, which means I have another sub-deck for you. So out of about 30-some decks that got submitted to me this month, we've managed to go down to one, which is Azindel Better Than Kados from CrazyRenato. So I'm not going to go too in-depth into the actual deck tech for this because it's not my deck. But I can kind of just mention a few things, like it's very similar in a lot of ways to the Praxis list that's running around, and just that it's like a bit of a very big mid-range deck. So like it's a mid-range deck that also tends to go pretty late because you've got Azindels. You're trying to just kill everything in the meantime. You've got Banish, Initiation, Desecrate, Annihilate, Deathstrike, Malediction. So you're just wiping the board and picking off threats over and over and over and over until you can land some really big haymakers, namely Azindel. Obviously that is the big one. Aurelian Merchant, a Trailmaker, and Tocas, and High Prophet of Soul can all just kind of help ramp you there, and Devotee of Sands too, so it's just like tons and tons of ramp, get you to Azindel as fast as possible, and then blow people away. You've got some Xenan Temples as extra value to just kind of dig down to find your Azindels, or to find your Merchants so you can get Azindel out of the market. You've got Xenan Obelisk as kind of an alternate win condition, and that's the deck. We've got some card draw as well, and Vital Arcana, a card that you might not have seen in a while. Used to be a staple of a few different control lists. And yeah, we're going to run this through a little bit of a gauntlet. It kind of fights Praxis on a pretty decent level because you're trying to just pick off all of their things before they can really get going. You've got a lot of removal for all of their ramp, and then you just try and ramp them faster. So you're just trying to kill off their stuff and develop your own ramp slightly faster than they can actually reset up their board. And we're going to jump into some games and see how we do. Thanks again to everybody who submits to these. So what this is, the Tournament of Power, is every month I get decks from all of chat, my patrons and my subs, and when we do an end of the month, we get all of those decks together and I roll them at random and I play them until they lose. We get votes going as to whether or not they get sudden death rounds or whether they're just immediately killed. And we end up with one deck remaining, and that happened to be this one. So obviously then I do a little bit of a showcase on it, and we move on to the next one. We try and do a little bit of prize every month, and I will continue to do that for November soon. So if you are a sub or a patron, get your decks in, join the Discord, and send me in a deck list, and we'll make sure that we power up all of those decks by the end of the month. Alright, see you in the games. Alright, here we are, game one, and that is definitely a mulligan. This one, though, is okay. Friendly Wasp, Friendly Wasp. Scorpion Wasp is a good... I, for some reason, combined Friendly Wisp and Scorpion Wasp. Scorpion Wasp is a pretty nice little piece of removal for a lot of, like, not just Praxis, but also the FTJ Icaria list. Scorpion Wasp answering Icaria is kind of nice. Does still mean that they get the Warcry, but there's nothing you can really do about that no matter what deck you're playing. Not reasonably. There are ways that you can make them discard it out of their hand, but the odds they actually have it in hand, like, it's just not worth trying to fight it on that level. You generally just have to kill it one Waystone. Do I keep a Vital Arcana? That might not be a bad idea. We've almost got 5 power already, and we've got a lot of removal. Playing against some kind of Elysian value here. That's awkward. We need a Azindel eventually. We're a ways away from casting it. I feel like I want to go for it from the market. I'm just going to need to get more power. Like, I need to get to 5 already for Vital Arcana. I need some more ramp if possible. Kind of not doing anything yet, and I'd like to develop the board in some way rather than just keep a bunch of, like, 5 and 8 drops that I can't necessarily cast right now.
Something catch your eye.
Opponent going to the market. Maybe for, like, a Sodi's Spell Shaper. That's kind of my guess most of the time with Elysian decks. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to just slam Ayan here. Ayan's just strong enough that I should do it anyway. And we'll pass. If they do play Sodi's Spell Shaper, that's not that bad for us, because we get a 3-3, and we get the Scorpion Wasp player Merchant. So they're not going to be able to draw any extra cards. And I imagine that they don't have Spell Shaper, because they would have done that. Sandglass Parma. Huh. That's interesting. I think I'm actually going to try and shoot it and then Desecrate here. The reason being that they're trying to ramp, and they're trying to ramp hard enough that like they're willing to play a Sandglass Parma without value. So they're obviously kind of desperate for power and they need to get there. Like Aurelian Merchant, we'll keep that. Because that can either be a Xenan Temple or an Azindel that we need. Or even just a banner, right? Get a lot of options. It was! I was right! Alright, well, fair enough. I don't know why they didn't do that then. Huh. It's like called shot my Scorpion Wasp, I guess? It's interesting. And Vital Arcana doesn't seem as good now. I don't really want to Deathstrike that badly either. That being said, they could easily have Equivocates, and I'd rather just get rid of it now then. Kinda sucks. There's only so much I can do about that. I have no idea. Why wouldn't they have put it on the Aegis unit and just bounced Ayan? Super strange. Really, really weird line. We need to find more power. I could Aurelian Merchant trade off Soul Recruit. That's not a bad idea. Maybe we just get Xenan Banner. Yeah, then we get Xenan Banner and we can play Tocas. I kind of like that. It does mean that we don't have a lot of other gas right now, but we can play the gas that we get. Vital Arcana's nice. Can help us refill our hand and get us doing some things. Still so confused by that. That was perfect for what we had in hand, but I don't know. I guess that I wouldn't have called shot a Scorpion Wasp, but maybe they did. I thought for sure if they had the Spell Shaper, we'd have gotten them there. So, smart play from our opponent, I guess, if they put us on the Wasp. Here we go. Another Spell Shaper. Nasty. Ooh, did get a Great Valley Smuggler. That's pretty sweet. It's always cool when you just get value off of it. And the opponent has, like, another Equivocate or something. Double Spell Shaper is a pretty great hand. Are they playing a Negate? They might. It's certainly possible. So we could Great Valley Smuggler and go ahead and grab a Azindel. Just trade off, like, Devotee or something. I'm pretty okay with that.
Make the best pelts.
Oh, it's not gonna let me do it. Huh. Okay. Interesting. There's the Metamorph. We definitely need to banish that. They've got another... Yeah, I'm like, they almost for sure have a muster here. That's really, really sick. Man, their hand has been insane. Double Spell Shaper, Sodi itself. Two different other muster cards, like the Parma and now Tome, all very cheap. Lots of ramp. Oh, 3 Spell Shapers. Wow. That is bonkers. Wow. Oh, man. That is unbelievable. Wow. I am stunned by the level of top decks here. That is insanity. And they dissociate. Oh my god. Unreal. Absolutely insane. Wow. Wow. That is some incredible drawing. That's gotta be some of the best draws I've ever seen in an Elysian deck. That is super, 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 super busted. And gonna be very, very hard to win this. And I mean, they never walked into Scorpion Wasp last time. If they've actually put us on it, then they should just they shouldn't slam in, I guess. They'll go and get something. Just Royal Decree us first, yeah. I'm guessing they also have another attachment here, and then they're just going to be able to use the Sodi here. This is insane. What an incredible hand they have. Wow. Wow. I'm just stunned. 3 Spell Shaper is so great. Wow, and another tome. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Wow. That is beyond insane. I'll go ahead and block. And they know that I had another Scorpion Wasp. That feels like a huge mistake. Because now they'll let us kill that. That seems super weird. Why would they have done that? They played around Scorpion Wasp earlier, it seemed like. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they just made a big mistake the first time, and now they're just forgetting that I had a second one? Huh. Super strange. Doesn't make any sense. Well, despite how much they've drawn off of all those Spell Shapers, we're actually ahead of them by quite a bit on power, which... or at least a little bit. Not helping our cause here. What a hand. This is going to be very, very rough to get out of. If I can maybe get an Azindel out of the market. Or off the top of the deck. It's the reason why we're not playing our power card, because then if we do draw a merchant, then we can just immediately go ahead and grab Azindel. Sure. Yeah, and they've got the Tome of Repetitions, so they're able to just go ahead and do that. Make everything cost $1 million. Attack for 3. This is interesting. So I can actually stop them from repeating anymore, which is good. Throwing away their unit into our Scorpion Wasp has really changed the pace of this game. They might still get out of it because their hand is just so insane. Yeah. Fair enough. They do let us get the killer again, which is nice. And they don't have anything in hand. Like, there's no real board here, so.
Blink and you'll miss it.
It's not too bad for us. I kind of want the Arcana Flag Bearer down so we can continue to get more Warcry. I'll go ahead and play the Devotee. We want to keep the Tocas sitting here. They're both flooding a bit.
This'll draw a good cross.
Considering that they're not going to have board wipes being in the colors they are, besides Soul's Rest, which, sure, I think that it's okay to load the board. Like, making us replay them is not the same as killing them. Keeping them in hand is the same as them already playing Soul's Rest on us. We might have gotten out of this.
Treasure for the taking.
I don't mind using this a couple times because they're not going to be able to really stop it. It's been a pleasure. So we've got 9, 10. Yeah, I mean, we might as well just go for it, right?
Treasure for the taking.
And then, especially with them saying GG, it seems like we actually have it. And we do. Nice. Whew. Both of us flooded quite a bit there, but we managed to pull it out. Like I said, I think they really threw that game very hard by accident. They must have not looked at the numbers and thought that when they got us the Royal Decree that they got the only Scorpion Wasp that we had in hand. Or maybe they thought that they had got the Onslaught with it, like, and they were getting both of the Scorpions out of our hand. But yeah, that was not the case, as it turns out. And we managed to pull out a win that I did not expect to get at all. Game 2 after a tight Game 1, and we've got a really awkward starting hand again, but last time we managed to draw a little bit better, and yeah, here we go. This hand's perfectly serviceable now with Double Trailmaker. We'll obviously want to draw more power cards eventually, but we have enough to almost get all the way to Xenan Temple already if they're not killing off a bunch of our stuff. I say as my opponent immediately shows us Skycrag colors, which probably means that some of this stuff is dying. We'll see. Hard to say. Like, they could absolutely be the, like, Static Shock Prodigious Sorcery deck. Or they could be a, like, Justice, Fire, Primal control deck. Or they could just be Skycrag Yeti and be aggro. It's hard to tell yet. Okay, Permafrost, thankfully, does not actually matter. Yeah, that's more than fine. I'm worried about losing power. I'm not super worried about
treasure for the taking.
The rest of this. Using that is a little bit dicey here because it does set us up to be hailstormed, but I'm assuming... Okay, or torched. But I was assuming that if they had those kinds of things, they would use those kinds of things. Treasure Trove. And I need a power card. Just one. I haven't drawn one yet. I need at least one. At least one would be real good. We do get to slam an Ayan here. So we're not, like, totally out of gas yet. But we really do need to find one. There we go. That makes me feel much better. And I am almost certainly just going to go ahead and grab a power card here. So we can hopefully continue to ramp up a little bit, get closer and closer to Azindel. We don't have one yet, obviously, but we can get there. So like Royal Decree, Garden. Could just be removal. None of that. Interesting. No removal. I'm going to kill that for now. It can't be Hailstorm that they got out of the market because it doesn't kill this, or if it is, then it's not that big of a problem. I kind of want a Merchant. Don't love Malediction here, that's for sure. I think we just go for the Azindel. We'll see what our opponent does. Beast Caller. Ooh, that's not going to turn out so well for them because we have an answer. We have an immediate answer. We have a bunch of immediate answers, actually. In fact, I think better than just using the Xenan Initiation, I'm going to go ahead and use one of my straight-up removal spells. That'll teach ya. That worked pretty well. Right, that also has Aegis. So no real reason to Deathstrike it yet. We'll just pass, and then we can go ahead and initiation our World Joiner, and then slam it again, and that should be the game. Boom. Didn't even need an Azindel. All we need is a Temple. Temple is such a good card. Game 3. Ugh. We're on the draw. I'm going to keep this. It's slow in some ways. But, yeah, if we just draw a regular power card, I'm going to keep another one. I think no. Not yet. We've got a lot of ramp in our hands. We need some actual gas, something like a Temple. Okay, so we're against Even Paladin, which is a deck I've been seeing cropping up a lot again for some reason. I'm not sure why. I feel like Praxis kind of really took a dump on it, but people have been playing a lot of it for me recently.
Blink, and you'll miss it.
We'll play this unshifted, because we can just block their 2/2. If they're playing Even Paladin, there's not a lot of pump spells that they're running. If they want to use, like, an Annihilate or Desecrate for our 1/3, Sure, they can get through 2 damage for that. We've got lots of ramp where that came from, so that's not a huge concern for us. Does mean that they probably have a lot of removal, because that's a very, very, very premium removal to just use on a random 1/3. Either that is... Wow, they've got a really solid hand, though. They kind of have the ideal starting hand. Hojan Anointer and Even-Handed Golem with removal is basically the exact hand that you want in that deck.
I will have justice.
And this is an enabler for most of their decks, so I actually think that we need to Desecrate that too. And in the meantime, do I want to attack? I'm glad that we drew Azindel, because we actually had the pump to get there. I think we just want to wait. We're going to try and play the longer game here. We've got the Azindel. Azindel works really well against Svetcha when it resolves too, because, sure, they make everything in their deck bigger and have Aegis. Okay, I'll take it. Doesn't always work out that way, but it's not nearly as bad. Yeah, good thing that we killed that Anointer, so then we don't have to deal with that immediately ramping them.
This'll do the trick.
I don't think it actually matters what colors we get. If I pump this, then we're not going to be able to trade anymore. I actually don't need to anyways, because we're at 8 already. We're just going to wait. We'll do a stare down here. When they decimate, they get extra paladins +1/+1. And when they get to mastery 20, then we lose all of our power. We're just going to jam Azindel. And if they don't have removal for Azindel, we're in amazing shape, because the 2 Wisps get in, we draw a bunch of cards, and that is generally enough to seal up a game. We'll have to see, though. Ah, they've got the Vanquisher's Blade. It's wild. This is why it's so wild they use that Desecrate. Like, they use that so early. Seems like they made a big mistake there. Now we have these Wisps too, so if we manage to get another Azindel, or a Merchant to get an Azindel, then we're in fantastic shape. We've got them on the ropes that way. Because then we have the immediacy. That's why you like having things like Scorpion Wasp too. Just to get in underneath, or over top of any units that they might have, so that you immediately draw off of the Azindel. Trying to essentially make it as close to like a Kairos resolve as you can. Where you just draw a bunch of cards and have a massive board. Azindel does a really good Kairos impression. The problem is that it doesn't really have the support that Kairos does. I'm just gonna keep slamming in here, I think. I could leave 1 back now, maybe, because I don't really like the Copper Hall sitting there. Yeah. Keeping this in hand just as before, because if we do draw that Merchant, we want to be able to get the Azindel immediately and slam back. Desecrating Scorpion Wasp. Nice. I'm just going to hold this last one. We're kind of chiseling away at them. Eventually they're going to have to get in with the Copper Hall Paladin. Sure. So they'll go for Nivea? Maybe Hojin? No, they'll go for the Nivea. I'm okay with that.
I pledge my fealty.
It's interesting that they decided to do that Immortalize at end of turn when they would have had 4 left over anyways. They would have been able to do it that turn. That feels strange. Let's attack with those. They did pause. I want to pump this so they can't just slam Nivea and the 3/4 in. I'd like to just be able to trade 1-to-1. If they have something. Like Annihilate? Maybe. Why would they be holding off on that? Maybe a pump spell? Not a lot of pump spells they'd be playing. I'll trade. I mean, I don't love this, but I think a trade is okay for us here. We need to have Scorpion Wasp sitting up here, one of the Wisps sitting up here, able to take that out. Ooh boy, we need to stop drawing power. That is certainly an issue. Okay, I only want to attack with one, because obviously they have something. And while I don't know what that is, I want to make sure that I have enough back that they can't just freely get in with this 7/8. Well, I have more than enough power, so I'm willing to trade off some things. Like, losing this doesn't matter anymore. I have 1,000,000 power. That is certainly not our issue. Immortalize without Exalted, because they're just going to get the Nivea. Sure.
I pledge my
So that must have been what it was, is an Immortalize. Wow, that is a lot of power cards in a row. Poofda. I'm going to slam with both. I really don't want to have to trade with the Nivea again. I mean, I think that our big thing here is, can I stop drawing power? That'd be real cool. Less power would be really nice. Goofa doofa. Leave one back. Not really because I want to trade it, but because I might be able to keep back the 2/4 lifesteal from it. Oh wow, they drew Rune Hammer too. Yeah. This is just kind of a perfect storm of some real bad flood here, with some very good draws from our opponent. Not attacking with the 2/4. That seems strange. Why not? I have no idea why they wouldn't attack and just gain 2 life. Seems like a mistake. You can get in very, very freely. Ooh, boy. Well, I'm glad that I got some of those power cards out of the way, at least. So that's something. So now the big question is, do I lose, like, the high profit?
You will feed the darkness.
And what spell do they have? I feel like it's probably another Immortalize. Could be wrong. Cleansing Rain. Kill all enemy curses. Sure, so they just get to pump their paladins. That's the idea. Interesting deck they've got going on here. More power cards. Yikes. Ugh, wow. I mean, at least I can get something big out of the void.
Welcome to the fold.
I'm gonna be big old Azindel. It's silenced, but it's still something. Rough. Leave back the deadly. Keep the life gain. If we can just top deck an Azindel, we can still get out of this. Wow. Speaking of top decks. Speaking of top decks. Wow. Alright. I guess that we just passed the turn here. Oofa doofa. And an Abergraft. Sick. Wow. brutal, 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 brutal top decks.
You will feed the darkness.
I mean, there's nothing I can really do. They're gonna get the mastery on this, and I'm just dead. That sucks. Man, what a game. Yeah, I got killed by the Flood quite a bit. They had a lot of ways to get power out of their deck. They did it like 4 or 5 times, and they still had less power than us at the end of the game. That's not good, actually. This might be the best looking starting hand that we've had. I'm definitely gonna keep this. Aurelian Merchant can be used to either get like a Xenan banner if we're stuck without the second shadow, or just obviously getting Temple, Azindel. Those are kind of the big ones. It's still nice to have something like a Banish in the market for emergencies, but our general go-to for that is not going to be Banish.
And you'll miss it.
We'll trade off this Malediction. It's like a good, wow. Very aggressive uses of removal here. I imagine that a lot of people are used to that just because Praxis, like, you need to kill off all of their ramp cards early. I'm not sure if I see a Xenan deck if I'm going to be immediately slamming Desecrates on Devotees the way that our opponents have been. Depends on how many removal cards they had in their hand. Our last opponent did it immediately, even though they didn't have any other removal. But they'd managed to top deck it anyways. And let's see.
We'll blaze a
Arista. That's fine. I could Malediction it, actually, which is interesting. I think that might actually be the play. As much as I was saying I would just want to get it into the market. Since it is just straight up removal for Arista here, and that means that we can keep the Banish for something later, I don't mind that. Yeah, like now we can actually go ahead and Aurelian Merchant trade off something and banish this. So we'll trade. I could go for the Azindel. We're very close to it. Temple is playable right now. I feel like Azindel is just, I mean, maybe a greedier play, but also not very far off for us. It seems like it'll be really easy for us to get an Azindel going here in a minute. Sure. Oh, baby. More Nightfall, huh? And, wow, they're really deep on Elves. I like that. Elves is a fun deck.
Blink, and you'll miss it.
No, we need one power card. But, I mean, we're not in bad shape by any means. We're at 23, they're at 14. Double Azindel is certainly a thing. Sure. Killing off all of our ramp is definitely a problem. Ooh, unfortunately for them, this works out well for us. If they'd done it the other way around, we couldn't block this.
I call on the power of Saw.
Come on, power cards. I'd rather have power cards than random blockers here at this point, because they can actually kill those, right? This is interesting. I'm just gonna not block. They didn't have a trick. What was that attack then?
I'll hold them
Ah, Hexweaver? Sure, that's
Your
fine.
bloodline is weak.
This'll do the
Fair enough. It's not a power card, but it kinda gets us there. We can take a bit of damage, as long as we just resolve Azindel into Azindel. In fact, I think I'll just take all of this. It's a lot, but Azindel is also a lot. Yeah, I'm not going to risk it at all. Like, even if they just have Avara's favor, it's so bad for us. Man, second Livia is insane. Really, really good draw there for them. That sucks. And there was no way for us to play around it. Like, we did everything we could by just not blocking it all, but... Man, we just... After the Flood last game, we're just desperate for one power card here. Sitting on 5 and unable to do anything. Brutal. Well, that actually is the game, right? There's no way that we can recover from here, so we can just scoop it up. Our opponent's gonna play around with us a little bit more, but there's no real reason for us to bother while they're kind of messing around with all their stuff, trying to figure out how to kill us. It's easy for them to just A-space and do it, and we don't need to sit there and wait for them to figure it out. Rough. Sometimes, when you just need a power card, you just kind of keep drawing your ramp. That's part of the problem with these decks, and it does mean that your power base is something that can be attacked. I didn't expect our opponent to just have removal for it every single turn, and for us to never have the power, which was pretty rough. This one I don't love, because we don't have any shadow. Oh boy. This seems fun. I'll keep this. It's a bunch of removal. It'll let us buy time. I see that we are against someone who's very fun.
Spare some coin.
Well, we have immediate removal for that, so no big deal. We have removal for a lot of things.
Only the best for you.
So the general choice here is going to be to go ahead and grab, like for our opponent, it's going to be to grab Regent's Tomb. So we can expect that next turn. Get one of our removal spells.
Our wings
Nope.
and will are unbreakable.
Instead deciding to play Icaria for no value. Like, without being able to use it immediately. It's an interesting one. I'm just gonna go ahead and kill it. I don't really want to initiation. Yeah, that's more along the lines of what I was expecting. They've got to get rid of that, because otherwise they just kill the tomb. Strange line of play from our opponent. No idea why they wouldn't have tombed first. Because in the turn afterwards, like, they can guarantee a power drop.
Now it's my turn.
It's so weird. Like, they just guarantee that they get power, then they go to 5 and they get to immediately ultimate Icaria. It makes way more sense to on curve go 4 and then 5. They had a perfect curve. They had like 2 into 3 into 4 into 5, and they just decided not to do it.
This'll do the trick.
Not sure why. Who knows? People that are really upset and spammy sometimes make some interesting play decisions.
Now it's my turn.
Yeah, they figured out to play their power first. Now they're just letting us actually kill their Regents too. Huh. Why? They're one turn away from being able to turn it into the Elias.
Shall witness true power.
And instead they've said... Nah? Huh. Okay. I mean, I'll trade 2-1 for a Regent's Tomb. That's a great trade for us.
Our wings and will are unbreakable.
Very strange play from our opponent. Now the question is, how much damage do I want to take here? Rather than just drawing cards at the top of their deck. I'm actually just going to take it all. They do have a spell. Like, we have Annihilate for the flyer. We can jump block and or trade for other things. Let's see what they have. Okay. Devour. Sure. That's fine for us. Once we start drawing cards off the top of their deck, we can get out of hand pretty quick. So now we have We have a card to just chump block here if we want. Which is interesting. Obviously, using it doesn't matter.
You're in the crowd watch.
We'll play Devotee.
Blink and you'll miss it.
And then we're just gonna pass and hold up Annihilate. So we've got the ability to double block any of the Varas. This, I'll just chump block for now. And continue to hold up the Annihilate. Wow, devouring their flyer. Huh. They must need to find a harsh rule. Yeah, there we go.
This ends now.
This is why it didn't make sense for us to go super crazy on it. Another Azindel. Cool. Do need to get some more power cards here, though. Wow, triple Vara. Opponent's on a heck of a good hand. We've got some very strong draws here. I thought that drawing 2 cards off the top of their deck would really help us, but we're just really short on power for this Azindel right now. If we can get it down again, we might have a chance. Just have to worry about that Piercing Grief. They kept on top, but if it's Piercing Grief, we have an answer.
Make each bullet
Nice. Brutal. Brutal loss. That sucks. It's hard to beat triple Vara. It's a tough one. But still, a fun little deck to play for sure. When your opponents aren't spamming you the whole time, trying to, I don't know, tilt you or something. And it was good. We had a lot of fun with this deck. It's a nice mid-range list if you don't want to play any more Praxis because you're absolutely tired of it, but you still want to play that kind of slow value mid-range list. There's other options. Azindel is a really powerful card. I've talked about this before. I do want to just briefly scratch on something. I don't think that this deck is anywhere near as powerful as something like Praxis. But Praxis and the Kados list is... It's not because Kados is so broken beyond belief. I mean, that's definitely part of it. But Azindel is really close to that. I mean, it's 1 cheaper, 1 faction less on either side. So it's a lot easier to cast. And it also gives you a board immediately. So it's better on like a more, a blank board. But the thing is that in the Praxis list, you have cards like Heart of the Vault, which draws you cards. It can basically draw a card by being warped off the top. It draws a card when it comes into play. And it can make your Kados cheaper by drawing the Kados exactly. So you can go 6 into 7. On top of all of that, it'll also be a 6 power unit, like a 6 attack unit, so that when you play a Kados, you draw 6 cards. Like, the reason why it's so good, Kados is because imagine, like, if you had a Azindel, but there's also a Xenan card that costs 5 that says, play 2 2/2 Aegis units, draw a card, and make it 2 cheaper. Like, it's something like that. That's kind of the power level that you're looking at. And if you have that, it leads into, oh wow, so you already have units on the board for sure that are good, that are probably likely to be able to get in, so that you can help your Azindel right away drawing cards off the top of their deck. And it'll make your Azindel cheaper to cast, and it might even just draw the Azindel itself and, like, dig through your deck to try and find Azindel. If you have something like that backing Azindel up that, like, feeds into it perfectly, you can see Azindel being a lot more powerful. Azindel just doesn't have the support that Praxis does right now. So Azindel's a fun card, and I mean, if there ends up being some more, like, really good token cards or something, or... like, if there's something on the level of Heart of the Vault printed into Xenan, whoo boy, Azindel could certainly see some play, but it needs to be a little bit different. It needs to be able to build a wider board or give some evasion or things like that so that you can immediately get the advantage of having all of those little units getting in. And that's one of the things with this deck, is that the ramp cards are cool, but like High Prophet of Soul and Aurelian Merchant, unfortunately, don't really help the Azindel get in, right? Like, they help you cast Azindel, but they don't help you get the immediate value off of it. You'll still be able to have the 1/1s, but I mean, if they have a harsh rule or something, then that doesn't really help you. And if they're able to just kill Azindel, 2 1/1s is fine, but it's not going to win a lot of games on its own. In any case, I thank you all very much for stopping by. This is a fun thing to run through, and I always love the Tournament of Power. I love seeing all the wacky decks that people come up with and just different plans they have. We played like lots of Prixis combo and just all kinds of random stuff. We had like lists submitted that were Centaur oriented and elf-oriented, and all kinds of things like that that get sent in all the time, and I absolutely love playing some very weird jank stuff, and every once in a while we get like an absolute winner that's really insane, or just a ton of fun to play and very out to left field. So I've definitely enjoyed it a lot, and I hope you do too, and we'll be back again next week with some more content.